In a world where nature often surprises us with its adaptability, one wild hypothetical that sparks the imagination is whether lions and tigers, two of the most formidable big cats, could survive in the harsh, icy conditions of Antarctica. This extreme scenario invites us to explore the limits of animal physiology and behavior, as well as the evolutionary changes that would be necessary for these species to endure an environment that is as alien to them as the surface of another planet. The question touches on various aspects of survival. Which species might tolerate the bone-chilling cold better? How would each adapt their hunting strategies on a landscape dominated by ice and snow? And what genetic and morphological transformations would be required to thrive in such a forbidding climate? At the outset, it is important to consider the natural adaptations that lions and tigers have developed over millions of years to survive in their native habitats. Lions, native to the savannas, grasslands, and open woodlands of Africa and parts of India, are adapted to environments where high temperatures and seasonal droughts are common. Their golden, short coats and relatively sparse body fat allow them to dissipate heat efficiently during the scorching days, while their social structure helps them manage the challenges of survival in expansive, open territories. Tigers, on the other hand, are primarily found in a range of habitats from the tropical forests of Southeast Asia to the cooler, temperate regions of Russia. Their thick, striped coats provide camouflage and insulation against both heat and cold, and they have evolved a robust, solitary lifestyle that emphasizes stealth and agility in the hunt. Despite these differences, neither species is naturally equipped for the extreme cold, high winds, and perpetual ice that characterize the Antarctic environment. When contemplating the ability of these big cats to withstand Antarctic temperatures, one must first look at their physiological limits. Antarctic conditions are among the most extreme on Earth, with temperatures that can plummet well below freezing, persistent winds that drive heat loss, and an environment where snowfall and ice create a nearly uniform, reflective surface that offers little shelter from the elements. Lions, with their short, sleek fur, are built to radiate heat rather than retain it. In an environment where sub-zero temperatures are the norm, this lack of insulation would quickly become a fatal disadvantage. Tigers fare somewhat better in this regard, as their thicker, longer coats are designed to protect them from cold weather in their native habitats, especially in the northern parts of their range. However, even a tiger's coat, evolved for the cooler climates of Siberian forests, is not designed for the relentless, icy grip of Antarctica. The extreme cold would challenge their ability to maintain body heat, and they would likely suffer from hypothermia unless dramatic adaptations occurred. Surviving in Antarctica would demand a suite of evolutionary changes for either species, many of which would need to occur over countless generations. For a lion or tiger to thrive in such an environment, one critical adaptation would be the development of an even thicker, more insulating coat. This might involve not only longer fur but also a denser undercoat to trap heat more effectively, similar to what is observed in polar bears. Additionally, an increase in body fat would be necessary to provide energy reserves and additional insulation. The metabolic rate might also have to adjust, with a slower metabolism helping to conserve energy in an environment where food is scarce and temperatures are perpetually low. In terms of physiology, both species would need to develop enhanced circulatory systems to minimize heat loss, perhaps with more efficient blood vessel constriction near the skin's surface. Beyond the physiological adaptations required to cope with the cold, the behavioral and ecological challenges of surviving on the Antarctic ice are equally daunting. The hunting strategies of lions and tigers are intricately linked to their native environments. Lions rely on coordinated group hunts across vast savannas, where prey such as wildebeest and zebras roam in herds. Their strategy depends on social cooperation and the ability to stalk and ambush prey in relatively open terrain. In contrast, tigers are solitary hunters that rely on stealth and camouflage to approach solitary or small groups of prey in dense forests or scrublands. Neither hunting style is naturally suited to an environment dominated by expansive ice sheets, shifting snow, and minimal vegetation. In Antarctica, the concept of hunting as it is known in the wild simply does not exist. The continent is home to a limited range of species that have evolved to exploit the sparse resources available, such as penguins and seals. These animals are adapted to the frigid conditions and the aquatic environment. And they have evolved specialized hunting techniques to capture prey in the water or on the ice. For a lion or tiger, the absence of large terrestrial prey and the dominance of marine-based animals would force a complete overhaul of their hunting strategies. To have any chance of survival, these big cats would need to adapt to a niche that might involve preying on seals or scavenging on carcasses left by other predators. Such a transition would require not only physical and behavioral modifications but also a dramatic shift in their sensory and cognitive skills. As the detection, pursuit, and capture of marine mammals present challenges very different from those of hunting terrestrial ungulates. The practical challenges of movement on icy terrain also cannot be underestimated. The slick, uneven surface of Antarctic ice poses significant risks of injury and exhaustion. Both lions and tigers are built for robust, ground-based movement in environments with more predictable footing. In Antarctica, they would need to develop enhanced balance and agility to navigate crevasses, ice fields, and shifting snowdrifts. The large, padded paws of these cats, which are designed for traction on softer ground, would likely prove less effective on hard, slippery ice. Evolution might favor individuals with modifications to their paw structure, perhaps a greater degree of webbing or specialized textures, to grip the icy surface more securely. Behavioral adaptations would be equally critical in this scenario. For instance, both species would likely need to adopt new strategies for shelter and rest, seeking refuge in the form of ice caves or snowdrifts that offer protection from wind and cold. The social structures of lions and the solitary habits of tigers might also evolve in response to the extreme conditions. In an environment as unforgiving as Antarctica, even solitary creatures might find that cooperation offers a survival advantage. It is conceivable that, over many generations, lions and tigers would develop different forms of social behavior, perhaps forming loose associations or temporary coalitions to fend off the cold and share scarce resources. Historical evidence of animals adapting to polar environments offers a fascinating, albeit limited, glimpse into what might be possible. The evolution of polar bears, for example, demonstrates that a large carnivore can develop the necessary traits to thrive in extreme cold. Polar bears have evolved a thick layer of body fat, a dense, water-repellent coat, and a metabolism suited to long periods of fasting. However, these adaptations occurred over thousands of years in response to a consistent selective pressure. For lions and tigers to make a similar transition, they would need a comparable evolutionary timescale and a dramatic shift in selective pressures. In a hypothetical scenario where lions or tigers were introduced to Antarctica, whether through a massive climatic shift or some other extraordinary event, the initial survival rate would likely be very low, with only a few individuals possessing mutations that could be advantageous in the new environment. The ecological impacts of such a scenario would be profound. Introducing an apex predator like a lion or tiger into Antarctica would disrupt the delicate balance of the local ecosystem. Native species, already finely tuned to the harsh conditions, would face new threats from a competitor with no historical precedent in that region. The potential for overpredation on species like seals or penguins could lead to cascading effects throughout the food web. Moreover, the struggle for survival in such an environment would likely lead to intense evolutionary pressures on the introduced big cats, forcing rapid adaptations that could result in a lineage markedly different from their ancestral forms. Over time, these changes might give rise to entirely new subspecies or even a distinct species adapted to polar conditions, creatures that bear little resemblance to the lions and tigers we know today. The prospect of big cats surviving in Antarctica also raises questions about their reproductive strategies in such an environment. In their native habitats, lions and tigers have well-established mating systems that are intricately linked to their social structures and territorial behaviors. In the icy wilderness of Antarctica, where resources are scarce and the environment is relentlessly harsh, the energy costs of reproduction could be prohibitively high, needing to allocate significant energy reserves for warmth, shelter, and daily survival might leave little for reproduction, leading to lower birth rates and slower population growth. This, in turn, would affect the genetic diversity and long-term viability of any population that managed to persist in such extreme conditions. Furthermore, The physiological stress of the Antarctic environment would likely increase susceptibility to diseases and injuries, further reducing the chances of long-term survival for these big cats. Even with dramatic evolutionary changes, the likelihood of a stable, reproducing population of lions or tigers in Antarctica would be slim without significant external support, such as a change in climate or human intervention in the form of managed conservation programs. Ultimately, while tigers and lions are among the most adaptable and formidable predators on Earth, the notion of them surviving, and indeed thriving, in the unforgiving environment of Antarctica remains firmly in the realm of extreme hypotheticals. Their current adaptations, honed for life in warmer, more temperate regions, are simply not sufficient to meet the challenges posed by the relentless cold. The vast, icy expanses, and the unique ecological dynamics of the Antarctic ecosystem, the evolutionary journey required to transform these big cats into polar survivors would be immense, involving not just incremental changes but potentially revolutionary shifts in physiology, behavior, and even social organization. In conclusion, while the idea of lions or tigers existing in Antarctica is an intriguing exercise in speculative evolution, it underscores the profound connection between an organism's adaptations and its environment. The survival of these magnificent big cats depends on a suite of traits that have evolved over millions of years to suit life in specific habitats, traits that are in many ways incompatible with the extreme conditions of the Antarctic. Although tigers might have a slight edge in terms of natural insulation and the ability to swim across waterways, neither species is equipped to withstand the bitter cold, the treacherous ice, or the unique challenges of polar predation without dramatic evolutionary changes. This thought experiment not only highlights the limitations of their current biological design but also serves as a reminder of the incredible power of natural selection and the extraordinary lengths to which life must adapt to survive in every corner of our planet.